This is the Tactile Knife Company Rockwall. This is a beautiful little flipper coming to us from Tactile Knife Company out of Texas, a company that was born out of Tactile Turn pen company. It's a small pen company that makes small batch, high-end, beautiful pens. And I say it's a small company, meaning it is run out of one shop with a decently sized staff, but they're all given hand attention and such. So Will Hodges, the head of that company, branched off and started Tactile Knife. And what a great job he's done. This is their first knife out of the gate, and it's a company that's less than a year old, and they have really, really done an awesome job. This knife is very impressive. As you can see, it's a small milled titanium flipper with a very sharp, thin and slicey blade of CTS-XHP blade steel. Got a very, very nice point and a very utilitarian blade all around. But I really like the front tip portion of this because sometimes I find, especially smaller knives, they have a more gradual or less gradual curve here, and I like how aggressive that point is. And so yeah, if you take a look at this, you'll see that it has some of the hallmarks of the Tactile Turn pens, in that it's got this really nicely textured titanium. You can hear it. But it's grippy, but it's not aggressive. Feels great in the hand. And so this knife has a lot of details that you would expect from someone who's been making knives for a while. Excellent jimping, excellent action on bearings. These are loose ceramic bearings in there in a race that is perfectly milled. Now, I spoke with Michael Miller of Tactile Turn, or Tactile Knife, and he was telling me a bit about the process of making these things. By the way, RS stands for Review Sample, so this was sent to me by the company. I did not purchase this knife. There is a long waiting list for this knife, and they are slowly making their way through that list. Now, I say slowly because Michael was telling me about the process in making these, and it's not necessarily a quick process. They use wire EDM to cut everything out, and that is a super accurate, super precise machine that cuts parts out in a very, very, very precise way with the extreme tolerances they require in a design like this. But the process is not quick. So, they have to take their time making these knives, hence the waiting list. Also, they're less than a year old, and they've, by the way, produced an incredible knife for such a young knife company. So they are working their way up to be able to meet the demand on this knife. Some features about this that I really love: this pocket clip, deep carry pocket clip, is reminiscent of a pen clip, and not for nothing, you could put this in your shirt pocket and it might look just like a pen, but it works very well. It's got a very nice design, and it doesn't scream knife, I'm carrying a knife, like, say, maybe a more traditional pocket clip might. Everything they make, except for the ceramic bearings and the stop pin, they make in their own shop in Texas. So that pivot, all of the screws, they turn those on Swiss lathes. And, the Swiss are known for their precision in various things: watches, time, their train schedules, and all of that. So their lathes are also exceptional. Tactile Knife makes all of their screws and all of their pivots and all of their parts on those lathes and on those EDM wire cutters, machines, mills. I'm not sure exactly what you call them. Some of the attentions to detail I started to mention: this little landing spot for your finger when you're flipping. I love that, because even if it were landing on a spot like this, which is really nicely rounded and chamfered, as you can see. Having your finger land in a little pocket like that, it's just a pleasing experience. You can do it all day and never suffer anything on your finger. And you might want to do it all day because this thing has really, really nice action. It's a liner lock, and that's, you know, the usual thing you see is a frame lock on a milled titanium handle. I really like that this model in particular is a liner lock, because on smaller frame lock knives that have this sort of thin profile, it's very difficult for me to open them without depressing the lock bar. So for me, this is perfect because it allows me to take a natural grip and flip the blade out without any sort of hang up there. Very nicely ground blade, very sharp, and if you look at the edge, it's perfectly even all the way to the front. And to me, that's that's definitely a bonus, not only in performance, but I look at that kind of thing and it's pleasing to me. Let's see, no lanyard hole, which is fine, though I guess I must say on small knives I do like the option, because sometimes I like to float small knives like this in my pocket, and I like to have the little fob on the end, kind of keeps it oriented north to south. And but I gotta say, a hole on this would really kind of jack up the lines, which are very clean and simple and uninterrupted. It's got a nice sound too. Listen. Oh, of course all right, well, now it's not making, it makes a little ting sound sometimes. That's very pleasing to me. It's been pocketed out and skeletonized in there for weight reduction. This is quite a light knife, and you can see some of the detail in there. The steel spring is nestled in there with a little key pattern, and screwed in with a tiny little screw. And just an impressive little knife. Now, I handed this to an engineer at work who, I don't know why he didn't have a knife on him. I know he has them. I've sold him one and I've given him one. But anyway, we were at work and we were about to go live on a show, and he was like, I need a knife. Who could I ask? Joke, joke. And so I handed him this, and he had 2 big pieces of double-walled cardboard to cut for some reason. I don't know, maybe he was jury rigging something. I wasn't paying too much attention to what he was doing, but I heard it open and I heard him use it, and I heard him a little grunt of approval, and then he handed it back and said, this is a nice one. And from an engineer, I thought that was a great compliment, because they're using tools all day, and the better the tool, the easier it makes their job. And in that moment, in the heat of the moment, he had to cut this cardboard, and this thing did a beautiful job. It does have a nice thin blade. With that saber grind, they still get it super sharp and thin behind the edge. I am digging this little knife. So let me show it off with a couple of others for size comparison and just type comparison. I don't have too many small flippers. As you can see, this is about a 3-inch blade. So let me show it with a Hogue Ritter Mini RSK1 Mark 1. Great knife. Kind of the same size and length, but a different sort of knife altogether, in that it's more contoured and a little bit just bigger in profile and footprint, but great and capable nonetheless. Here it is with another great 3-inch bladed knife, the Rat 2. That's a colorful bunch there. Let me show you this with another newish knife company that has been doing impressive stuff. This is the only one I have from them, but here it is with a Finch Runtley. The Runtley, great knife. 2020's Christmas unboxing knife for me. Substantially smaller, but kind of in the same ballpark in terms of the kind of company, and that it's a small company, and also making very nice small knives. However, I don't think this Finch is made in the United States. I don't think it's made in the Finch facility. I could be mistaken. I know, Bob. Do your research, they say. Here you go. This is with a concept Pelican, designed by K. Maxrom. A favorite small titanium knife of mine. I love this thing. And I'm glad it's not a flipper, because I do think that I would suffer from that sort of unintentional lock bar depression with the rest of my hand. I love that this is a thumb stud knife. I look forward to seeing what they do next. I know Tactile Knife Company has plans to do a, well, watch the podcast. I'm about to release a podcast interview with them. They're going to be doing a couple of new knives that they have in the offing, and it'll be interesting to see what they do and how they execute. Here it is with the new CRKT Pilar 3. Again, same kind of handle to blade ratio, same kind of size, but just a different knife. It's heavier, it's got a bigger footprint, and but kind of in the same realm. I don't have too many of the smaller knives, but and here it is with an American-made American Blade Works Model 1 Mark V, I believe. And I have this one out because in a similar fashion, this is made in the facility where it was born up by Michael Martin. And a beautifully done, beautifully milled, beautifully made knife also. So this Rockwall, in its sort of clean look and feel, reminds me, I gotta say, a little bit of the Sebenza. It's got a different feel. The Sebenza has a more solid feel because it is more solid. It's two solid slabs of thick titanium. But in terms of the design and the, I don't know, I feel like the Tactile Knife Rockwall has legs. Like, this is not something that's going to go out of fashion to me. You know, as long as people like titanium handled knives with very useful, well-ground, high-end steel blades, this will be fashionable because it doesn't have, it's not a crazy design. It doesn't seem dated in any kind of way. And to me, that's one of the hallmarks of the Sebenza. I don't have a small Sebenza. I would show it with it, but I think it would be an interesting comparison to see this with a small Sebenza. I think that's about it. Oh, Rockwall, the name, if I hadn't mentioned it. I've done like 5 takes on this, so I don't remember what I've said at this point. But Rockwall is named after one of the counties in Texas, and that's what they're doing from here on out. With their knives, they're going to be naming them after counties in Texas, which is cool for a number of reasons, but chief among them, it's that Texas pride. It's the USA pride. They take great pride in the fact that they make everything, and that the couple of things they don't make, like the ceramic balls and the stop pins, which just not economical for them to make at the moment, they get from Texas companies. Same with their packaging, and keeping it all here in the USA. So this is the Tactile Knife Company Rockwall small flipper. Just a beautiful, beautiful knife. And congratulations to the guys over there who have brought this thing out and are doing such an amazing job with their knives after less than a year. It's very, very impressive. All right, thanks for watching.